everybody, Trey here. And as I wrote you all in the post earlier, today we're going to deal with forming major chords, minor chords, and learning those in the root position. Okay? These are called major and minor chord triads. And also we're going to deal with the spiritual implications behind particular sounds. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be in the key of C major. And as I taught you guys in last week's lesson, the things that I'm teaching you, they are building blocks for the lessons to come. So hopefully you've learned your key names, you learned the 5 scales we taught, you've learned sharps and flats and the number system. So as a recap, in the key of C major, your major scale is here. Numerically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. So very simply, a major chord can be defined as 3 notes that are played at the same time to form a harmony. And some musicians, some teachers, and some books define it as 2 notes played at the same time. We're going to stick with 3 notes. And the chord is formed from the 1, the 3, and the 5 of the major scale. So in the key of C, what are the 1st, 3rd, and 5th notes of that major scale? We just played it. So it's 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, and the G is your 5. C major chord, very simple. This is going to be a quick lesson. And as far as root position, you can think of it like this. If I tell you to play a C major chord, the bottom of that chord, if your thumb is on that note, that's going to be that chord in root position. Okay? So if your thumb is on the bottom note of that chord, that's in root position, based on the key you're asked to play in. Because, and this will be another lesson, there are actually different inversions you can play every chord, okay? These are all C major chords. But you see my thumb in this position, this inversion is on G. This inversion is on E. But if I'm in the key of C major, if I'm going to be in home or root position, or sometimes it's called the tonic position, I want my thumb, the bottom finger of the chord, to be on the note specified. All right, let's apply to another key. Key of D, major scale. We learned this last week. Okay, so I need the 1, the 3, and the 5. So without me showing you first, can you tell me what's the 1, 3, and 5 in the key of D? All right, hopefully you said B, F sharp, and A, D major chord. All right, let's try one more. E major, major scale. 1, 3, 5, find the major chord. You should have it now. All right, so we also discussed, and also I tossed out the word triad. That means 3. Okay, so 3 notes form a major chord. So we also talked about minor chords. So going back to the key of C, we know what the major chord is. All you have to do to make a chord minor, you take the 3rd tone of the major scale and you flatten it. We learned last week that to flatten a note, you just lower it, okay? Okay? So I had E, now I have E flat. I flattened the E. Okay? Let's apply it to D. That's a D major. 1, 2, 3. Flatten it. D minor. this apply to E? E major, 1, 2, 3, flatten, E minor. All right, so I mentioned the spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual implications behind chords, behind sounds.
Hey.
Hey there. Can I talk to y'all in like 5 minutes? I'm recording.
Oh.
Hey, Bubba.
Come on. Well, you can't see Johnny about with the tail.
Well, I'll be done in about 5 minutes. Can y'all close the door? Well, we're all the way live here, folks, and I'm not going to start over. All right, the sound, spiritual implications. Major chords can be defined as those sounds, those chords that give you a lighter, happier sound. And minor, they seem to take on a more serious vibe, and sometimes almost a sinister vibe. So you got to be careful how you implement these chords in the worship. It's very important if you're an MD, a musical director, if you are a ministry leader, a preacher, pay careful attention. You better know who's sitting behind these instruments. Some don't know any better. They do it by ignorance, but some people know exactly what they're doing. That musician can literally control the spirit behind the worship. Because music is coercive, meaning it can direct your emotions. It can affect your emotions. Prime example, most of you have probably seen the movie The Titanic, right? Many years ago, I saw it many years ago. It got some stuff in that movie, so saints, y'all better not be watching Titanic. But case in point, that's a long, drawn-out movie, and it has an entire orchestra that's playing that background music, because as things are going on in the movie, the music is accompanying a specific emotion. Can you imagine watching that entire movie with no sound at all? Some of you probably cried, but I guarantee you, if you were to watch the same movie without that music accompaniment, it would have been boring. It was boring anyway. I went to sleep in the movie theater, but I'm just saying, music adds an element of spiritual. People don't understand that their emotions, that's spiritual. That's the human spirit in operation, okay? So you got to be very careful who you are allowing to conduct your worship. So prime example, implementing the major chord. Okay, very light, happy song, spirited. I can use the same progression, make that major minor, and watch the difference. Okay? More of a serious context, right? Now, I'm not saying, of course, we use major and minor chords, and sometimes it has a proper context in the song, but you just got to be careful how you utilize it. You know, when the service is taking on a lighter spirit, don't you take the saints back to here, right? Prime example, what is it, Kurt Carr, For Every Mountain? That's a minor song. It has many minor chords in it. Okay, so forth and so on. I kind of butchered that, but you all get the point. So just be careful how you utilize these chords. I'll give you one more example, and we're basically done for today. There's another chord called the diminished chord. And these the first time you really heard these chords, let me go to, the first time you heard these chords were in horror movies. Right? Building suspense, but it's all about application. We use that a lot in gospel music. So forth and so on. So quick recap, and you all are going to get this early. I'm done before Bible study, praise God. Been a busy week, always busy. So quick recap, we went over how to form a major chord that's built off of the number system, major scale, 1, 3, 5. And to make that chord minor, you take the third note and you drop it. And always be responsible and mindful as a musician what kind of spirit that you are provoking in the worship. All right, you guys, that is all for this week. I may have something later on in the week, but if not, it'll be next week. And that's actually good because it gives the real beginners time to go in and digest the information. So look for questions, follow-up questions tomorrow and Friday. Thanks for watching. God bless you and keep working.